Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions, and I'm sorry for that technical difficulty. So I just went live and I had no audio. But again, for all those that are not familiar with who it is that I am, my name is Ricky. I run the largest YouTube channel, largest private Facebook group. For those who invest in the stock market, you guys can check this out right here. It's called TechBud Solutions. We have nearly 85,000 members within our free Facebook group. If you want to be a part of that, you simply click the first link in the description. It's 100% for free, and feel free to check that out. Also, again, be sure to become a little bit more familiar with my YouTube videos. I have over 1,200 free videos that you can learn from and how to get started. So a very common question after doing a couple breakdowns. First of all, I want to say what's up and to apologize to everybody. I think that this should be the live stream. Let me double check and make sure that we are good. But I think that everything should be good here. Just let me make sure that, yeah, we are live. I don't see any messages or comments coming through. If you guys, let's see. Oh man, this is just a bad live. So I'm gonna be doing the breakdowns, and I hope that you guys are here, and if not, I'll just repost it. But altogether, I mainly focus on 4 futures: /CL, /NG, /NQ, and /GC. This is on the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. So depending on what brokerage it is that you are using, the ticker symbol might be a little bit different in how it is that you share that. Again, you can simply Google it and become a little bit more familiar with, like, how is it you can search for these specific futures. The reason that I think that it's so important for you to understand the direction of the future is to make sure for this upcoming week, right? So today's Martin Luther King's, it's the holiday, right? Markets are closed, but the futures are still open. So you can kind of, if you go on the 5-day, 5-minute chart, you can become more familiar with kind of like the pattern that it's trading and identify its direction. I think not only identifying its direction makes it that much easier to kind of have a successful trade, but it's also going to like reassure you and become more confident with whatever position it is that you are taking. You become more familiar with kind of like its patterns and the direction that it's headed. And I really think that if you guys focus on direction, especially with the futures and how they correlate on over to the series of ETFs, they could be very useful for you. So the first one that I'm going to break down is /GC. You should know probably some ETFs that correlate on over to that. Some very popular ones within our group are JNUG and JDST. Again, there's like NUGT out there. There's DUST. There's a bunch of different gold-based ETFs out there. /GC is a gold-based future. So looking at it and how it's been trading, I mean, I can go as far back as like 180-day analysis and try to identify kind of its pattern and direction. We saw that it was trending up. It hit highs of about like, the 1,300 nearly. And we talked about this, that the progression in the way that it was growing kind of stopped when it hit the highs of 1,300. It began to really consolidate, and we usually see that consolidation or that peak right before it begins to pull back. Based off previous patterns, just like it used to act as an old resistance, the SMA line, which is this green line right here, is now acting as a new support. So when /GC sells off, that means that JDST, which is the inverse ETF of JNUG, pushes up. I know that's super complicated, but again, /GC sells off, that means that JNUG sells off, and the inverse of JNUG, which means the opposite, is JDST. Then JDST pushes up. So a question that you might want to ask yourself is, how much more can /GC sell off? And is JDST something that you want to follow? We saw that this thing has been downtrending during extended hours, and will this continue? It's pretty much like up to you guys to decide. On the 5-day, 5-minute chart, we could see that the consolidation kind of ended here and then began to show signs of a downtrend, and it's been getting rejected by the 5-day, 5-minute chart SMA. I think that's very important to kind of identify, especially leading up to tomorrow, so you could become more prepared with, hey, is /GC still selling off? And if it is, then maybe I might want to pay a little bit more attention to JDST. Or hey, is JDST then now pushing up? Maybe I want to pay a little bit more attention for the potential reversal of /GC, which then means the reversal of JNUG. So very simple breakdown. The one that follows is /NQ. I think that this one's going to be very important for a lot of people. We've been seeing /NQ progressively push up, although its overall direction due to the market sell-off, this is a direct future due to its overall, market of Nasdaq, right? So this has to do with that overall market for Nasdaq. This is its future. When Nasdaq pushes up, so does /NQ. But due to the market sell-off, /NQ has been selling off. and the futures that you guys, or the ETFs that correlate on over to /NQ are SQs and TQs. And what I mean by that is ticker symbol SQQQ and TQQQ are the ones that follow. So if I'm not mistaken, SQs is the one that pushes up when /NQ sells off. And TQs is the one that pushes up when /NQ ends up pushing, down, right? So I'm just making sure that we are all good here. But the really cool thing about this is, again, looking a little bit closer to /NQ, we can see that it's been pushing up for quite some time. It's not really been a good deal, and its overall direction has been trending down. This has happened once before when it pushes up above this SMA line and then really gets rejected. I've been waiting for the sell-off, as many of you have. And the really cool thing about this is, now, if we look a little bit closer to the 5-day, 5-minute chart, the progression in the way that it was going is not necessarily there. Now it's getting rejected by the SMA line instead of it acting as a support. So is the reversal near? I don't know. We simply have to wait for the confirmation. It's as simple as that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set a series of alerts just to let me know and remind me that /NQ is selling off. The more that /NQ sells off, then the better chance I have to get or catch the overall reversal for, if I'm not mistaken, SQQQ, which will then push up. If /NQ continues to push up, then TQs, which is the TQQQ, will then progressively push up as well. So again, that's the breakdown on /NQ. The one that follows is one of my favorites, /NG. I've been watching this pretty much all pre-market hours, and the really cool thing about this is that we talked about a pattern of this thing getting rejected around the SMA line. We could see that it's tried to push up and then got rejected, and then now is getting rejected by this overall EMA line. The MACD is in its favor. The RSI is somewhat in its favor, but altogether is, can /NG start to show signs of an uptrend. This is a natural gas future which then correlates on over to the ETFs of UGAS and DGAS. There's a bunch of other ETFs out there that correlate on over to natural gas. Those are just simply the ones that I follow, and that's why I'm talking about them. If we look at the 5-day, 5-minute chart, we can see this progression of this kind of like sell-off of support and resistance. It had a very aggressive sell-off during the morning, all the way down to, if I'm not mistaken, sub 3.23. That was a very aggressive sell-off in comparison to the performance that it had on Friday. And now the question is, is this thing going to then now push up, or is the sell-off going to continue to progressively sell off? Because the way that it's been trading before, it progressively sold off and then it recovered. Sold off and then recovered. Whoa. And then it got rejected by this like descending resistance and descending support. So there's this very nice pattern, but now that it's sold off, it kind of just consolidated right around 330, and now it's starting to pick back up. On the 1-day, 1-minute chart, actually just a couple minutes ago, just before I went live, it broke above 3.33, which was a resistance that it's been struggling to break all day today. So if you guys could see, it had a resistance right here at 3.33, and it recently just broke above that. Yes, it's a little bit on the overextended side, but it's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. Again, if you don't understand its direction, then I would encourage you to maybe dedicate a little bit more time to focus on understanding the direction that /NQ is going before you decide to invest in either UGAS or DGAS. If you don't understand the direction of either one of it, and it's consolidating too much and it just doesn't make sense to you, one of the best things that you can do is probably just not take a position at all. The next one that follows is /CL. This is a lot of people's favorite specific future, and it makes sense. It was aggressively selling off, and when this aggressively sells off, this correlates on over, if I'm not mistaken, to DWT and UWT. So the more that /CL sells off, DWT pushes up, and then the inverse ETF of DWT, just like I said, is UWT. So this one was selling off just like /CL. Now it's been showing signs of a recovery with it being now overbought. Is this the reversal? If it is, I think it's going to consolidate for some time before it really begins to push up. So again, if you don't understand its direction, then I would just watch a little bit closer and just be patient. Yes, it is pushing up, but it's not so much of a good deal, and I think it's due for a pretty solid pullback before it progressively and continues to uptrend. So what I'm going to do here is I'm simply going to set my alerts up here and simply set my alerts down here as well. And that's pretty much it. So I talked about /GC and the series of ETFs, JNUG and JDST that follow. /NQ, Nasdaq future, and correlates on over to SQs and TQs. /NG, which is a natural gas future that correlates on over to UGAS and DGAS. And then /CL, which then correlates on over to the series of ETFs as in DWT and UWT. That's simple, right? let me go ahead and close out this live stream. Where are we? 9 minutes and 50 seconds. So I want to thank you guys again so much for your time. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new in this video. Again, I think that one of the biggest factors when it comes down to trading is understanding the direction of what it is that you are investing in. If you don't understand the direction that it's headed, then how can you comfortably invest your hard-earned money in it? Again, there's a lot that comes when it comes down to learning how to trade in the stock market. Don't rush it. You have all year. You have nothing but time. Just remind yourself that. I think one of the best ways in getting started is simulation trading and paper trading, so you could practice everything that you learn. And again, if you want to utilize or learn more about that, feel free to Google it or YouTube it, as there's so many different ways on how to learn. If you guys would like to work with me on a closer basis, again, we are running a sale. You can watch me trade live every single day. It's with the Learn Plan Profit Group, second link in the description, and use promo code 30 off. That will save you $30 off the Learn Plan Profit lesson library, which you have access to for a lifetime. If you want to learn more about that and what's included, be sure to click that second link in the description to learn a little bit more. Thank you guys again for your time. Hope I earned your thumbs up. Like always, continue working hard, continue following dreams. Let your passion be what drives your success. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.